There's a real easy way to have a dynasty. Have one of the 10 greatest players ever. Good morning. Welcome to the episode of Heartfelt Radio. Appreciate you for being here with me today. This is the show that values time. I value mine. You should value yours. So I appreciate you spending some of that value time here with me. Let's get started. Giannis and the Bucks won. And anytime a team wins in the NFL, the NBA, any professional sports league, we always get these, what impact is it going to have? Like, how is this going to impact the rest of the league? And then we always get the second question, which is, are they going to turn into a dynasty? So let's handle the first question. How will this impact the rest of the league? I don't know if it does. One of the really big things about Giannis that I heard a lot of people talking about yesterday is, because Giannis stayed with his team and Giannis won a title with the team that drafted him, that's going to encourage other guys like a Damian Lillard, a Zion Williamson, Donovan Mitchell, guys who are thinking about possibly leaving their original franchise and going somewhere else. The impact of Giannis winning a title with the Bucks are going to make them consider staying. No, I don't think so. There's a couple of key differences with Giannis and everybody else. So A, Giannis is European. He's a European player. The culture over there is considerably different than the AAU culture that America has. The AAU culture that America has is, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to look out for me. I am my first priority. I am my business. I am what I need to be concerned with. And that's fine. I don't begrudge anyone that grew up that way or feels that way or wants to move that way for the benefit of themselves or their family. They're entitled and they're allowed to do that. Giannis and European players and overseas players in general, this is just what they do. Their culture is coach first, team first, me second. So Giannis winning a title. Now, while I do, as a guy who's a fan of a small market franchise, while I would appreciate it and what I would hope this makes other guys just want to stay with their teams, yeah, but I don't think it happens. The other part of Giannis staying with his team that I don't think applies to a lot of other guys is the Bucks have done right by Giannis. If we want to go back to the origin of the super teams, quote unquote, what was the reason LeBron James left? He didn't have good enough teammates, ownership, struggling in the playoffs, or even him having individual success but struggling team success in the playoffs. The Cavs' big signing for LeBron to help him get to that next level and get a title, his first stint in Cleveland, was they got him Mo Williams. The Bucks got Giannis, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, developed Chris Middleton alongside him, developed Giannis himself. They did more for him than the Cavs did for LeBron James in his first stint. Not all of these teams are going to do that right by their superstars. Now, in some situations, I think they do, but not in every situation. This is the difference between what they did, what I feel like New Orleans did for Anthony Davis, which is New Orleans got Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday. New Orleans got Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, even though that didn't work out because of injury. New Orleans got Anthony Davis, Tyreek Evans earlier in his career, Rondo. So there is a difference in what some guys receive and what other guys don't. Also, Giannis is just unique. Well, yes, there's a list of overseas players who stayed with their teams. They all had great success, even if it didn't lead to multiple championships. Dirk only got one title, but the Mavs were consistently winning 50-plus games. And the era was different. That's when we acknowledged, just the media and the talk around you was acknowledged. If you were constantly winning 50-plus games, we never looked at the Mavericks as a bad franchise. They're one of the best 4 or 5 teams in the league for about a 6-7 year run. And after the Lakers and Spurs, you could argue they're the third best. It was them and Phoenix fighting for the third best team in the West. So I'm not convinced Giannis winning a title, him being a European player, and B, the kind of success they've had, multiple MVPs, winning 60-plus games multiple times, and now getting a title, I don't think it's going to translate down to some of these other guys. Second question is, will it lead to the Bucks being a dynasty? I've said, and I've come on here before, there's a real easy way to have a dynasty. Have one of the 10 greatest players ever. That's it. Like, what other dynasty is there in the NBA that didn't involve one of the 10 best players ever? The Lakers, Magic and Kareem. The Celtics, Bird, McHale, Parrish. The Bulls, I don't know, Michael Jordan maybe, that helps. Scottie Pippen. The Lakers again, Kobe and Shaq. The Spurs, Tim Duncan, the Warriors, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. That's a dynasty. I don't consider the Heat run a dynasty. That was just a run. And even then, if you want to say that, fine. The Heat had LeBron James. I'm not going to come out and say, and I'm a huge Giannis fan, but I'm not going to come out and say he's a top 10 player all time. I'm not going to say he's he's not on the level of LeBron, Kobe, Michael, Shaq, Steph. He's just not there yet for me. Now, he might get there. I won't hold that against him, because if we've now seen it in a playoff run, him fully understand who he can be and dominating like that in the paint, and we've seen him do it obviously during the course of the regular season, if he can come back and do this same thing again in the playoffs, hands up, give it to him. Because one of the things that he's going to be able to do is they're going to wear down teams, because no one wants to deal with Giannis game after game after game, night after night after night. It wears you down. Losing to a team like the Nets, who could just shoot you out of the building, that might feel rough, because you might turn a 5-point game could turn to a 20-point game in a couple of possessions. But you would come back the next night and feel like, well, if we just make our shots, we have just as good a chance. You lose to a team like the Bucks, you physically feel it the day afterwards. Giannis running into you 20, 30, 40 times a night. Brook Lopez banging down on the block 20, 30, 40 times a night. Drew Holiday playing tough defense up the court, picking up 94 feet. Like, this is a tough, like, you feel this team. This feels like the Spurs. When you played the Spurs, you felt like you played the Spurs, versus when you would play from that same era, a team like the Suns with Nash and Stoudemire and all those guys. That was a finesse team. They might win by 20, but you never felt like, okay, well, if we just made shots. I always go to the Greg Popovich. I've gone to this several times. The Greg Popovich quote. When you look at an NBA box score, he had issue with the fact, if you look at an NBA box score from today's game, today's style of game, you could just go and look at one thing, 3-point shooting, and that determines who wins. That was not the case for this finals. Giannis was so great in the paint that the Bucks controlling the boards, it mattered. The Bucks playing defense, it mattered. The points in the paint, it mattered. If Giannis has truly, if that's really clicked for him, the Bucks could be a dynasty. But I'm hedging my bets on no, because I don't think Giannis is one of the 10 greatest players ever. And that's not a diss. That's not a sly. That's not me being ill-willed against him. I like Giannis. All you got to do is listen to Real Big 3 to know how much I like Giannis. But dynasty, I'm not sure if I'm going there yet.